That's good.
We ready?
That'll make it's 9 o'clock, there's nobody on, but I'm monitoring, so, well, somebody is here, so. There you go. We are recording. So
Okay.
it's 9 o'clock.
All right, well, good morning, everybody, on this, Johnny Hardy Souls that came out this morning, the 27-degree weather. Welcome to the Zoom participants and to our audience here. As you know, we're offered for the council and the citizens to discuss the council issues, and to speak and ask questions. So let's move on to the adoption of the agenda. I need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Okay. All right, we have a first from Jim and a second from Bruce. Any discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're here to discuss quotes from the American Tennis and Welch Tennis to resurface the two city-owned pickleball courts. The American Tennis quote was $11,258. The Welch Tennis quote was $8,700. I know that you have the bids in your packet. I reviewed them. They look pretty comparable to me. I'm gonna open up the floor for Jason to give a little summary of the discussion and talk about how we're gonna pay for this issue. Go ahead, Jason.
Just right quick, did either one of these, companies do the original one, the two?
They did not, the original was done by Talbot Tennis, they're in Atlanta. I can't get a response from them. This has been a project we've been on a perpetual 6-month waiting list the past year, trying to get somebody to come up here. I want to thank, a couple of citizens and a gentleman named Gary Geisman, who's out of Scaly, was able to put me in touch with these two companies, American Tennis and Welch Tennis. They're both out of Alabama, and they work throughout the Southeast. As you look at these two proposals, they're pretty much apples for apples as far as the requirements of the thickness and the number of coats, et cetera, et cetera. The American Tennis, they came in with a quote of $11,258. However, there's a caveat to that. They have an optional right-way system. It's a membrane that if we elect to go with that, it's $11,000. If we elect not to go with that, it reduces the price by $4,500, which would take it to $6,758. This company, they cannot start until sometime next spring. I asked them if they could guarantee that price. They said that they might, but with the volatility. Anyway, so the Welch Tennis, the other quote was $8,700. I asked them, they said they did not feel like we needed the right way system. They also offered that right way system. Their quote is $8,700. However, I received an email from the project manager this morning. And it says, I just got off the phone with the crew and they can be here within a week. So the choice is at hand is do we go ahead and get it done and be done with it? And because it is vastly overdue, the courts are 5 years old, they have cracks, it does need resurfacing. Or do we hope to be on their waiting list 6 months from now and hope the price stays the same? My recommendation would be to go with the Welch Tennis. We actually budgeted $30,000 in capital to build a court. We know that's not going to be enough money. So there is money there now too, that we could utilize those funds to resurface the court. So, as I look at this, from talking with both these companies, Welch Tennis is a little more, I think they offer a little bit more, a little more options as far as colors and things like that. But the recommendation would be if we go ahead and get it done, Welch Tennis can do it now. So I not repeat myself. we would hope to have it done before next May. So that's the, I'll try to answer any questions beyond that, if I have it.
Yes, sir. Looking at those, they're fairly comparable. And if we don't do the special membrane, they're fairly comparable of what they're gonna do to fill the cracks, et cetera, et cetera. The other, the thing, the additional things, with, is it Welsh, the 8700?
Yeah.
With Welsh, they're going to paint the poles.
Yeah.
That's extra on with the other guys. And so there's some little minor things like that. You know, and to me, it seems like Welsh is a little more comprehensive than what they're doing. You know, so I, you know, to me, that seems to be like the right choice.
And another thing too,
And, I'm sorry, the other thing is waiting until spring. I would bet you that other bid is gonna go up. So at this point, you know, it seems to me to be frugal to go ahead and get it done.
one of the things as well that's very fortunate, that if Welch actually has a crew, they're doing a big project in upstate South Carolina, so they have a crew nearby, so it's very, very fortunate that if the council lets it go with this quote here, again, they could be here very soon. We would have to close the courts for about a week, but, again, it would be done, and then, so,
Time to do it.
yeah, and so come springtime, if they'd be ready, we wouldn't have to worry about trying to close in, so,
And temperature's not a factor for them.
well, I mean, obviously, we need to get it done quick. I mean, we're kind of running into that with the road paving, which is supposed to be tomorrow. In perfect world, they would like to have ambient temperatures at 55 degrees, however, a nice sunny day. They're telling me they can do it, so, I know it's cold this week, but looking into next week, it should be warming up, but, we're gonna have a very short window, but yeah, they're, if we're gonna do this, now's the time to do it, and they are ready and available to do it. Again, within a week, if this was the direction that, we went.
Jason, I noticed under the job conditions on both, bids that they both, you know, require water and, bathroom and so forth, electricity. The Welch bid said that they would want the city to remove all the waste materials. I never saw what the American Tennis. I didn't think.
They had something in there, it's not as though there's a phrase, I have to find it, but both of them, basically, I asked the, American Tennis. And, they did say that they would want us to be responsible to remove that waste. I mean,
Okay.
we can do that. We can bring the 350 and the 550 up here. And of course, we've got water, we've got power, we've got bathrooms there at the pavilion, so, that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just to say that, you know, needs to be done and we can check this off and we're not guaranteed a big savings next spring anyway, so.
Step on the duck.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah,
So I think smart thing to do is just go ahead and do it,
do it. Great.
go on to other things.
Any comments from our participants in the audience? Okay, any comments or questions from Zoom?
No, man.
All
I
right,
have one person on there.
sounds like we have a winner here. All right. Next item is to discuss a quote from Colorado Construction Company to replace the culvert and repair weakened sections of Ridge Pole in the amount of $22,800. I have reviewed the contract, as I'm sure you all have. Jason, if you will just kind of review the need for this culvert replacement and how the city will pay for it, for the repair.
Madam Mayor, Ridge Pole, it's around 740, I believe, Ridge Pole, it's in the curve. There's an existing culvert, probably been in the ground 40+ years, it's deteriorated, rusted. There's a soft spot in that road. We've actually I'm sure if you drive that road, you feel it every day. We've got a yellow X there that's painted. I've actually sat there with, our public works staff monitoring it. As people drive by, you can actually see the road doing this.
Oh.
Especially like a heavy truck, a concrete truck or something like that, or a propane type truck. It's gonna get worse. We ran a light down there. We ran a light, the culvert is clean. But about halfway down, which is about where the soft spot is, the water's actually whirlpooling. So, which tells me that it's intruding out of the rusted pipe. So water's getting into the ground. It's about 70 feet of pipe, we're gonna replace. We're gonna have to cut the road out, actually cut that section out. Pull out work around the existing utilities, pull out the existing deteriorated pipe. Replace it with, I believe it's gonna be a 36 inch, I think it's a 24 inch there now.
Yes.
We're gonna replace that with HDP like we did up here that will last forever. And then they'll backfill that in, and then after that settles, we will repatch that. Talking with Caldwell, they are up here working now, so, in fact, they have given us several quotes for road projects that probably we would start in the springtime. And, they could do this, excuse me, the last conversation I had with Mr. Caldwell is that they could do this, within the next, few weeks, but it needs to be done. And we would pay for this out of T-Splosh. Obviously, this would qualify for that. And, it's, again, if you've been down to what they're doing at Evergreen, they're doing an excellent job down there. And, in fact, they gave us a quote, just on a side note, they gave us a quote to replace the two culverts here, right here at the curve, which will be our LMIC project for next year. But, the recommendation is to go with this quote. I think it's very reasonable. Put it into comparison when Kerbo did the work here for us back in the springtime. They also replaced a culvert up on Forest Court, and which was about as significant with this. And I think that was around the dust settle. That was around $24,000. So I think it looks good. And it needs to be taken care of because it's just going to get worse.
Certainly.
The road will have to be, as I said, we probably will have to close the road for about 3 days. Of course, people can go around Alex, and by then, of course, the southern road, Evergreen Road, it should be paved and functional as well. So there's people have a way to get in and out. So
I noticed it would take 10 tons, was it, of asphalt? Is that what it was?
it's a significant project. I spoke with Jerry. And Jerry's one of these guys, talking about Jerry Shope, our public works director, and I said, Jerry, do you think we could do this? And Jerry's one of these guys, he hates to say no, but he just said, this is really bigger than what we can get into. And I appreciate his honesty because I don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we bite off more than we can handle. So these guys are professionals, and I think that this is the way we need to go.
Do you have any estimate of how long the road will be closed?
Perfect conditions, about 3 days. There's the man of the hour right there. Jerry, we're talking about the Caldwell construction quote. And if I recall, didn't he say about 3 days of road closing?
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, we would obviously, if this gets approved today, and once I coordinate with Caldwell when they can do this, we will obviously get the word out. We'll get a MailChimp and some other and put on the website, as well as making sure people know in advance that the road will be closed. But it is a needed repair.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Questions or comments? Jim?
Yes, when I saw the bid, I thought there must be some mistake, 70 feet of pipe and 3 tons across the run and 10 tons of asphalt. But when I went out and found it and looked at it, I paced it off, and son of a gun, it's 70 feet. And, it's pretty deep, and
It's been getting worse too.
there may be a little, natural contingency built into it for unforeseen. I mean, there's a hole in the middle of it apparently. In underground, and they might need that, I don't know. But
I think they looked at the culvert. I don't know if you were here when we was discussing that.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
saw the little whirlpool.
yes, on Whirlpool, yeah.
Is anything y'all want to add, gentlemen, about it?
And we do have 2 other additional exits and entrances to help our citizens get out of the city when we close it up. Good.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Did you have something to do with the?
In there, 642 Ridgepole. One of my concerns, Jason, is that they have been delinquent in finishing the project on Evergreen. I think if we have a period of time, that road's closed and it goes on and on, 3 days, everybody could live with that. But is there some financial penalty that could be built in? That if they get over 5 days, that
We can certainly speak with them about that. I think, again, some of the delay on Evergreen to change the scope and just, but, yeah, we can certainly talk with them and they understand that, we need that road back open, and I can certainly speak with them about, and in most of our contracts, we do have, some language that basically states that at any time the city feels like the contractor is underperforming either in time or quality, there's some remedy there. So, yeah, we will definitely, convey to them that if they do get awarded this, that, we need to try to keep this as close to 3 days as possible.
and are they physically back paving on Evergreen?
They were prepping, when I was there, I came up yesterday, they're doing some final prepping, and, they are paving tomorrow, is that correct? Tomorrow. The fortunate thing about that road, the proximity of the plant, they should be able to pave that road. It's gonna be cold tomorrow, but it's gonna be clear. It's gonna be rising temperatures. They should be able to pave that road in 1 day. And so,
Have you seen any paving equipment, Jerry?
What's that?
Have you seen any paving equipment?
No, they've had it all out of the way right now. I went down yesterday as well. And they had their water truck and the big rollers and the motor grader back out. Of course, people been going down it and up it. Doing some final prepping on it, but they'll bring that probably all at one time. They'd probably be bringing it in today, having it ready, so whenever they sit down, they'll start at the top, go to the bottom. They should be bringing the equipment in today.
Question, Jason. How far up Evergreen are they gonna do it all the way to Rescue? Or is that a?
that would be a separate phase. They're gonna begin with the pavement ends past Cobblewood, where Sheep Cliff is. So when we changed the scope, originally the pavement was gonna end at the gate. And so when we added the width, we added that extra length as well, so it will be a paved road. Actually, on the side note, I did receive a quote from them to resurface Evergreen back to Rescue.
Mhm.
That will be something we'll bring up at a later date. Obviously, that would be a springtime project. Because they'd have to program that into their scheduled work, but,
It's measured, isn't it, Jason?
yeah.
We had it measured in there.
Yeah, we received several.
It's all broke
Tentative
up
quotes.
from there all the way up.
Yeah, Bill.
Back to Tim's point with this culvert. Conversations are great. The language we have in the city is a little vague. I would say if they, when you have a conversation, if you come to some sort of agreement with them, say, hey, if it goes past 5 days or 6 days or whatever days it is, then there's some remuneration on our part, and that needs to be put in writing and create an addendum to that contract. Both parties are signed. Because otherwise it's gonna be back and forth. We can do that.
Hopefully with their equipment already here, that would make it more conducive to getting scheduled correctly.
Yeah, you could enforce me, funds in there, so that'll protect them.
We'll get that to that out of the way.
Yeah.
They brought all that.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Anybody?
Just to say that, you know, if the preparation that they have done so far is any indication of the quality of the completed work, I think they've been doing a heck of a job. I mean, before, you know, before the elements got down to it, that whole road was just as smooth as it could be. And then Friday, they put the fine coat down up at the top where they hadn't touched yet, wet it down, rolled it. Man, you could have played marbles on that. So it's gonna be a nice darn road. Yeah, if there's any indication.
Jim?
And Jason, how long will the good citizens that live on Cobblewood be unable to reach their homes? Just one day?
Usually,
If we're gonna pave, we're paving up past Cobblewood. On the everything is dirt now, so we have continuous pavement. That blocks the entrance to Cobblewood for a short period of time, or,
it shouldn't impact Cobblewood.
Okay.
The pavement of the paving. Will end down below past Cobblewood.
okay.
Because Evergreen is paved, Evergreen is paved beyond, the pavement ends at where Sheep Cliff connects with, Evergreen. So, beyond maybe a heavy equipment, just being in the vicinity of that area may impact Cobblewood, but, there should not be any impacts, to Cobblewood itself. It may impact Sheep Cliff. There's 2 homes down there, but again, it's, obviously, it would be hopefully very minimal and for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
But,
Jimmy, we'll stay with the styles
Yeah,
when they do Cobblewood.
yeah, he's came to my house.
We're gonna stay with Holly Head for a couple days.
We'll talk. Yes, sir.
The other concern I would have is that we get a definite start date. So that we can say to all those people that are gonna be inconvenienced, you need to start planning on this. And I would say to Caldwell that, you know, I need to have a date that you're gonna show up and start working. Because we're gonna be wide open to getting a lot of criticism. Don't keep this thing moving
You're talking
along.
about for both projects? The
Well, I'm talking, no, I'm talking about, excuse me, I'm talking about. Culvert project on
Gotcha.
Ridgeport.
Gotcha.
You all know you rich people that live out there, backside of it.
I'll pass the Darrell's.
Thank you. There. Anybody else, comments, questions? All right, well, we have moved through our agenda quickly. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I was troubled about that, we didn't.
Thank you, Tony, a second.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and we will stop recording and then we'll be ready for our 10 o'clock meeting.